Welcome. I'm Lori Balderas, and I'm so happy you're here. Well, Lent is officially over, spring has sprung, and the Lord is risen. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you are noticing that I am wearing white, which is very uncharacteristic of me if you know anything about me. I'm typically an all-black wardrobe type of girl. But in honor of springtime and in honor of the resurrection of the Lord, I decided to wear white today. Anyway, I feel a little bit exhausted, as I'm sure many people do who went through the Triduum and the, Good Friday, all that entails, which can be very emotionally exhausting. At least it is for me. It's very, it makes me very grateful for everything the Lord did for us, but it is a very somber day. And then we have Holy Saturday and the Easter Vigil, which is a long and beautiful ceremony for the people coming into the church. It's just a glorious event. If you haven't ever been to the Easter Vigil, I highly recommend it for you to at least go once in your life, if not more than that, and support people who are coming into the church. And then, of course, we have the grand finale, which is Easter Sunday. Now, I say grand finale because it really is like the biggest day of the Catholic year. And I would say, close second to Christmas. But Easter is just a beautiful, magical time. And the good news is we get 50 days of Easter. So when people are starting to put away their Easter baskets and eating up all their chocolate bunnies, we Catholics, we keep going for another 50 days. So we're just getting started, honestly. So this is what I wanted to talk about today. And I know my last episode I was a little bit down in the dumps and I was having quite a struggle. And I'm just trying to have that more uplifted attitude. And so I just wanted to say that. And I wanted to also thank the people who showed concern for me. I'm a work in progress. I'm human. I really do struggle. And I'm just trying to keep my focus on the Lord and all he's doing for me. And I know that everything's going to be fine as long as he is in charge, which he is. So thank heaven for that. Now, what I would like to know is, what were your experiences through the Triduum, through your Easter Sunday? How were you feeling during that time? Specifically, I want to say more about the Easter Vigil or Easter Sunday. Was it the same old thing to you? Was it boring? Was it irritating? I know some people kind of get dragged to masses sometimes, but I certainly don't. I love going to mass, especially on the high holidays and holy days. But were you having those feelings, or were you thinking, oh my gosh, this is amazing and beautiful and magical, and it's giving me a whole new spirit and take on life, and I just feel filled with gratitude and love and light? That's what I'm hoping everybody had. I wonder sometimes how people do go into Easter Sunday. I would hope everybody has those excited views of it, but I'm a member of the staff at the church, and I know one of the things that comes up quite often is we notice that people show up for Christmas, Ash Wednesday, and Easter Sunday. So we not joke, and say, where are all these people the rest of the year? Where are they? They're staying home, I suppose. But that's too bad, I think. I think the people that only come on those days are really missing out on the beauty and the richness and the glory of our Catholic faith. And I know a lot of times people bring their family members or friends who maybe aren't Catholic or maybe haven't been to church in a long time, and they'll invite them. And I think that's a really good thing to do. Let's say you're a very devout Catholic and you go every Sunday, or maybe you go every day, and you think, I'm going to invite my friends and family to Christmas and to Easter Sunday. Great. But then continue it. Like after Christmas, say, would you like to come with us again this Sunday? Because we'd love to have you. Or after Easter, just kind of the same thing, like keep the ball rolling. And if they tend to say, oh no, I only go, there's like jokes about it, whatever, but just say, oh no, I'm serious. I would love for you to come with us every week. And, it's such a, we could get together and we could go have a meal afterward, or we could go to the beach, or we could go to the park, or you could come over to our house and we could play games or something, bribe them is what I'm saying. No, I'm over. Tell them you'll have wine with them. That would always get me to somebody's house. No, kidding and not kidding all at the same time. I just think it's very important to kind of keep the ball rolling, and hopefully, people will take you up on it. But I'm wondering, if I feel like the Catholic faith is very in tune to the senses. When you go to Mass, there's something to see, smell, hear, feel. There's all the senses are being used in the Catholic Mass. And so I'm wondering if at this Easter or Easter Vigil, was there any of those things that were heightened in you? I know that when I go to Mass, especially on the times when I'm not serving at the church on the Mass times, I really like to go in and close my eyes sometimes and smell, the incense, or hear the bells. We miss the bells during Lent. At least I do. I miss the bells. We don't have holy water in the fonts during Lent. I miss that. I miss the feeling of the holy water. I miss it when I'm crossing myself. I miss hearing the bells where it draws my attention up to the altar. As much as incense is overwhelming to me, I like to have the incense so that I'm remembering that the Spirit is drawing, the incense up to the Lord. I love to see the, garments that the clergy are wearing. I love to see people saying, peace be with you to each other. I love seeing people hugging each other and smiling and just being kind to each other. So all those things, when you go into Mass, instead of just going in robotically, like we've talked about before, don't be a Catholic robot. Go in, leave everything outside the door, go in and use all your senses when you go to Mass, and encourage your children, maybe quietly say to them, or actually even better, when you leave Mass and you're driving home in the car or you're having a meal together, say, what smells did you smell in the church, today at Mass? What did you see that really struck you? What did you hear? If you start saying those things to your children and make it like a good habit, a happy habit, that will be something where if you do that consistently every week, they'll know, oh, I better be prepared. And, we're going to talk about this. And it also prepares yourself to go in and just like really use your senses to make Mass so much more valuable and important, and just where you feel it more. So I highly suggest that. I also really suggest and encourage you, if you are the people that only come on Christmas, Ash Wednesday, and Easter, I know, especially at our church where, again, I'm on the staff, and we want people to feel welcome all the time. We want you to come in and come to weekly Mass for sure. You must do that if you're Catholic. So start doing that, start next Saturday. Make sure you head to Mass because you did it Easter Sunday. So let's keep it going. And then, of course, because I love going to daily Mass, I love being a devout Catholic. I love just starting my day off in that way. Waking up, doing immediate prayers, praying the rosary, going to daily Mass. These are things that just start my day off on a good foot. It's easy to stay in bed. It's easy to let other things get in your morning, but make that something that starts off your day. I'm going to really encourage you to continue on now, continue on and start going to Mass more. And like I said, invite your friends and family to go, because maybe that's what they're waiting for. Or I'm also inviting you. Maybe that's what you're waiting for. I'm inviting you. Please come to church more. You can do it. Other things can wait. If you plan ahead and you say, oh my gosh, you know what? There's a football game on I want to watch. I know you people out there are watching football and basketball or baseball, and you don't want to go to Mass. But guess what? If you plan ahead, you can say, oh, the game is at this time. So we're either going to go the night before to the vigil Mass, or we're going to go later to the afternoon Mass, or really early in the morning. You really can't get out of it, because there's a good 5 to 7 Masses, at least there is at our church. So you can't really use that excuse. See, I'm being really strict with you. But I'm really encouraging you to go to Mass more. Now that the Lord is risen, let's show him that we love and care about him even more. And also, you know what? It's going to make your mom and grandma happy. The more you go to Mass, can you imagine your little grandma's face? If you say, Grandma, I went to Mass this Sunday. Oh my gosh, the angels are going to sing, and she's just going to die a happy woman. So no pressure, but just picture your little grandma or your mom who wants you to go. Okay, when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the life-changing experience that the disciples and apostles had at the actual resurrection. So we'll be right back. Have you ever wanted to witness the miraculous and walk where saints have walked? This is your chance. Join me, Lori Balderas, host of Fresh Catholic Podcast, and Father Matthew Miguel, as we walk with you through Italy's most sacred sites. From the Eucharistic miracles of Lanciano and Orvieto to the Peace of Assisi, your heart will be transformed by these extraordinary moments of grace. You'll walk the hallowed streets of Rome, step into the history of the Vatican, and witness the places where faith has flourished for centuries. Each stop deepens your journey. Each miracle renews your soul. We invite you to join us on an unforgettable, life-changing experience.
Join us and let your faith come alive in Italy.
And we're back. So imagine that you are the disciples and apostles of Jesus. Imagine what you've just gone through with him, not just in his ministry. You've been with him every day. He's created this relationship with you, and you've been actually in the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ. Holy Week comes. We just went through that. It's a beautiful week. It's a very important week, but it's also a very devastating and sad week, ending with, of course, the crucifixion of our Lord Jesus Christ. How horrible, how they all must have been feeling. I'm devastated just reading about it and watching the Passion of the Christ. I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it again. When I watch the Passion of the Christ, it brings the Bible to life for me. It's very visual. When I'm hearing things read out of the Bible, that's what I'm envisioning now. And it's so chilling, and it's so devastating, and it's horrific. And I sob my eyes out. I can't even use tissues when I watch the Passion of the Christ. I have to use a towel, because I just have to hold it over my face. It's just devastating, but it's so important. And it just makes me want to, give my whole life even more to Jesus. So imagine you're his disciples and his apostles, and how they must have been feeling after they realized how he's died and he's in a tomb. And, you put yourself in their spot and you think, gosh, you would be just emotionally exhausted. You would be in shock. You would be numb. I would think, they probably hadn't eaten, and I would just think completely worn out in every way possible. And I just put myself in their spot and I think, I can just feel it. I feel how that would be. So I want to read out of the Bible, the resurrection of Jesus. So this is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verses 1 through 10. And so I'm going to read this to you now. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, approached, rolled back the stone, and sat upon it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing was white as snow. The guards were shaken with fear of him and became like dead men. Then the angel said to the women in reply, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are seeking Jesus crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead, and he is going before you to Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you." Then they went away quickly from the tomb, fearful, yet overjoyed, and ran to announce this to his disciples. And behold, Jesus met them on their way and greeted them. They approached, embraced his feet, and did him homage. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go tell my brothers to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." Wow, what a roller coaster that must have been. Can you imagine that? I mean, just put yourself there and you're just devastated. And then all of a sudden you're being told, wait a minute, no, he's actually alive. Now, at first, I don't know about you, but I would be very skeptical of that. I'd be thinking, well, what? No, I mean, he was very, very much dead. He had been just beaten and tortured and crucified. He's definitely dead. So in another accounting, I know that they go in, they look in the tomb, he's not there. The cloths are there, but he's not there. I would still probably be thinking, did somebody steal him? Where did he go? Where is he? But no, he's resurrected. What he said came true. Then imagine you're thinking, wait, should I be excited? Is this too good to be true? Am I dreaming? Is this just a cruel, mean joke? Am I going to have to go through this again? And we find him and he is in fact dead? But no, that's not what happens. Can you imagine that? And there's many accountings of people encountering Jesus. It's not like this was just this small group of people. They made it up. They were delusional. They had this conspiracy going. It's none of those things. It's none of those things. Contrary to what some people think today, that's just not the story. And if you have any faith at all, this is exactly why we are Catholic. This is exactly why we are Christians. This is why we are followers of Christ, because we believe this to be the truth, which it is. There's no way that it didn't happen any other way than this. And so for all those naysayers and poo-pooers out there, this is it. And I feel bad for the people that don't believe in this. I feel bad for the people that don't have faith about this story, about Jesus, about why he did what he did, why we should be followers of him. I feel very bad for those people, and I pray for them every single day. I pray for people to soften their hardness of hearts. I pray for people to come to the church, to come back to the church, to start living the sacraments, to receive the Eucharist, go to confession, clean your vessel, and start receiving the Eucharist. Or if you already are a practicing Catholic, become more devout, put Christ at the top of your priority pyramid, as I call it. Make sure that you're regularly going to Mass, that you're regularly going to confession, that you're regularly receiving communion, the Eucharist, into your body. These are the things that are going to change your life forever. And I have to tell you, after the last episode, I said, I wasn't feeling good. I wanted to go to confession. I did go to confession, and I felt so much better. It always makes me feel better. So I highly encourage all of that. I highly encourage you to become a more devout disciple of Christ. So there's many people that came into our church. One of the things I love about the OCIA, we used to call it the RCIA, but one of the things I love about, during Lent, OCIA is going on for year round now. And so watching these people coming to Mass, seeing their progression, seeing the different scrutinies they have to go through and the discernment they're going through, I smile every time. I know exactly how it feels since I'm a convert. And I just love seeing how many people. I always feel like every year there's more and more people joining our church, which is just thrilling to me. And I just know that their lives are about to just change for the better. And I was reminded that last year I had one of my favorite women in the world came on our show a couple of times, but one of the times was she had just been initiated into the Catholic faith, Sabrina McManigal. And, I went to the Easter Vigil to support her in this journey she was on. And I'm getting chills just even thinking about it. The night she became Catholic, she was just glowing. She has never looked more radiant and beautiful, and she is a radiant and beautiful person on the daily. But she just glowed with this new life in her. And, I see that in all of their faces, and I know how that feels. And that's exactly how I felt. And at the time, I kind of didn't know moving forward how I would feel. I thought, is this just something I'm feeling right now? This excitement, this exuberance? And my personal experience is no. That was a beautiful moment. That was a beautiful feeling. But every day when I go into Mass, I feel just the warmth and beauty and love, deep love of walking in and knowing that Jesus is in that church with me. And I just love to relive that feeling every day. And, if you haven't experienced that, if you're not Catholic yet, because my prayer and goal is that everybody will become Catholic. If you're considering becoming Catholic, if you're not quite sure what you think about it, ask somebody who's Catholic. Email me. I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to anybody about it. I would love to encourage people to, seek out the OCIA, call your church, find out, who's in charge of that, who you can talk to get involved in that, and start your journey into the church. Let's say you've turned away from the church. I think maybe reach out to the church and say, could I join the OCIA so that I could, get back into the church? I really don't know, I was raised in the Catholic Church, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I've forgotten so many things, which you probably haven't forgotten, but it's like riding a bike. You're never going to forget, but you should jump back on and we can always learn more. We can always learn more. And there's no shame in the fact that if you were raised Catholic and you don't know why you're doing what you were doing, there's no shame in asking why or how or what are the reasons we do this. Go to freshcatholic.com. We have many series on our website that educator Charles Merritt has done to explain things of why we do what we do. Get the book Catholicism for Dummies. It explains everything in a very simple way. You're not a dummy, but you know what I mean. Go and you can find out, why do we do what we do? What's the reason for this? So that when you go back or you come into the church, you'll have a really good understanding. when you join the OCIA, the whole purpose of it is to teach you every facet of the faith. And it's super important because there's a lot to it. But again, we don't want to be robotic Catholics. We want to be very faithful, very knowledgeable Catholics who want to live this life. It's a lifestyle. It's not an off and on, oh, I'm gonna be Catholic now. Like, I get very frustrated when somebody says, I used to be a Catholic. Used to be a Catholic? No, my dear, you are a Catholic, but you've gotten off course. Let's get you back. We want you. We hope you come back so that your life can be more fulfilling, and you will be closer with the Lord. There's nobody better to be closer to than our Lord Jesus Christ. So those are the things I'm going to encourage you to do. I think, I'm very interested in people's conversion stories. I know lately I haven't been doing a lot of stories about people's conversions, but I'm putting out an invitation right now. If you have a really interesting, compelling conversion story that you think would make a good episode to draw people to the Lord, please email me, Lori@freshcatholic.com. Let's talk and I discern, who will be a guest and who won't. But I'm doing an open invitation for that because I would like to do some more conversion stories, because I really think we all should invite and encourage people to come to the faith, come back to the faith, learn more about the faith. And I think those are really good goals. So when we come back, I'm going to look at my notes super quick. When we come back, we're going to talk about how we move forward. Okay, so we'll be right back. Let me tell you about all things Fresh Catholic, so buckle up. We have a podcast with weekly topic episodes and Fresh Catholic Daily, the daily Mass readings, on all platforms and YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, rate, and review. That would really help. Our website, freshcatholic.com, has an online store with merchandise and coffee, a blog, comics, info about our pilgrimage to Italy in September of this Jubilee year, and Fresh Catholic courses with educator Charles Merritt, including the Hail Mary, the Our Father, Sin, Sacraments and Grace, Advent, Angels, and Virtues. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Fresh Catholic with short videos every day. Email me at Lori@freshcatholic.com. I'd love to hear from you. And please consider becoming a Patreon or sponsor to help support our mission of drawing people to the faith or back to the faith. Phew! Spread the word and join the fun. Thanks so much. Bye. And we're back. So now, moving forward. Now we have 50 days of the Easter season. So, you know how we talked about in other episodes, when you're in Lent and you have 40 days and you're doing like things differently and you're making good habits. And then I was saying, you go into the Easter season and there's 50 days. You can carry on some of those things. But let's just talk about some ideas of things you can do moving forward. I have a list, so I'm going to read off my list, okay? So, moving forward, now what? What can we do? Make a commitment to start attending Mass every Sunday, for sure. Or, for those of you who are extra, extra motivated, go every day. So those are good things to do. Pray the rosary every day. Or as my little friend Emily, who I take communion to, tells me, Lori, you need to pray the rosary a few times a day. I'm like, okay, Emily, I will. And she's a very devout Catholic woman, so I need to listen to Emily. Go to adoration. We all know I love adoration. I love to go and sit in front of the Blessed Sacrament and sometimes be quiet and just listen to what the Lord and the Holy Spirit are trying to tell me. Sometimes I'm crying, sometimes I'm pouring my heart out. But adoration is a very beautiful thing, just a beautiful holy habit to get into. Join a ministry. Our church has many ministries to choose from. I hope your church does as well. There is something for everybody out there. So join a ministry, because I think that's something that you can deepen your faith. You'll be around people that are interested in like-minded things, and that is a good way to make new friends, or take your friends and go do it together. It can be a nice little thing you do together. And like I say, then go off, have a cup of coffee, have a meal, have a glass of wine. It's awesome. Start a Bible study or a class. Either start one yourself or join one. That's a good way, again, to meet up with people who are Catholic and get to know people in your church. It's a beautiful thing. Do acts of service. I know when people are down in the dumps, or they're having a hard time, or they're struggling with something, when you go and do an act of service for someone else, it immediately lifts your spirits. It makes you think, wow, somebody else actually has it worse than I do, and I would like to help them, and I would like to really pick them up today and make them feel better, or do something to make their life easier. I think that that's just a really good way to take the light off yourself. If you're just like moping and you're in a mud puddle and you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get out of this? Focus on somebody else. Focus on how you can make them feel better. This is also a really good thing for you to do with your children. I know not just children, but we all get very self-involved and very self-centered. And we want to not only ourselves, but teach our children, especially maybe teenagers, that it's not all about you. It's not all about, what you're doing. How about you go do something for someone else? Learn some good manners, learn some good things, to put someone else in front of yourself. Start or encourage someone to start OCIA, like we just talked about. That's a great thing. Become someone's sponsor. That is another good thing. If let's say you just became Catholic and you are just on a holy high, why don't you go to whoever ran your OCIA program and say, I would be very interested in being a sponsor for someone else who might be starting the program. Or, maybe you're already Catholic and you just got very inspired this year at the Easter Vigil, and you think, oh man, I would really like to help somebody come into the church. Become somebody's sponsor. Prepare to marry in the church, or make your legal marriage a sacrament. Well, we know I'm a wedding coordinator at our church, and we have people, want to get married in the church, and it's a sacrament. They go to marriage prep, and it's a very important and valuable thing to get married in the Catholic Church. It's lifelong and just amazing. But there are people out there that have been legally married, but they didn't receive the sacrament of matrimony. So we do those ceremonies too. They're called convalidations, and I highly recommend you do that. If you've been married, I've had brides and grooms come to me, they've been married for 25 years, and they come in and they receive their sacrament of matrimony, and it's a beautiful thing. And sometimes their children are in the ceremony, their friends and families are there, and it's beautiful, and it does really change everything. So I highly recommend that. Become a Eucharistic minister, sacristan, lector, or altar server. This is a really good way to serve in your church. And I would say I do a bunch of these jobs, and they're very fulfilling. I love doing them. I love to be of service at my church. And so you need to be trained to do those things. And your children can also do these jobs too. And it's really important for them to learn to do those so that they are serving their church. And that way, it's something they could probably put on a job application someday, because it requires them coming on time, doing a task properly, and, encourage your children when they go to apply for their first job to put down that they were an altar server or a lector or a Eucharistic minister. Awesome. Make a commitment to listen to Fresh Catholic Daily every morning or every evening, I don't care. But a lot of people really have put this into their holy habits. They wake up in the morning, it's sent to their phone. It's easy peasy if you subscribe to Fresh Catholic on social media, and on Spotify and all the different platforms. You will be able to listen to Fresh Catholic daily every day. What a great way to start your day if you can't go to Mass. I've said this before, but you can listen on your way to work, on your way to school. It's very quick, and it's really important because this is something we do all over the world. We're all listening to the same readings. So I have listeners in, I believe I'm up to 74 countries now, and people can listen all over the world. So how great is that? Of course, also the Fresh Catholic weekly episodes. Please watch those and listen and share with your friends. And last but not least, come on our pilgrimage. Fresh Catholic and Father Matthew Miguel have a pilgrimage coming up September 29th to October 9th to Italy. And the signups are, the deadline is fast approaching in June. And so please go to our website. The information is there. You can click on a link. There's an itinerary. You can see every day what we will be doing. And it's going to be just, in my opinion, just a lifelong dream of mine. I think it's a life-changing experience. It's the Jubilee year, so it's extra special. And Father Matthew and I would love to have you come with us. So pray about it. See if this is something you want to do. And like I say, sign up, put a deposit down, and come with us. We are so excited about this. So I hope that that's giving you some really good ideas. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to give you a 50-day resurrection challenge. Okay? Boom, I'm challenging you. I would like you to pick all of these things I listed, or at least one or two of them, and whatever you choose, give it your all. And really focus on it. Like I said in the Lent episode, if you bite off more than you can chew, maybe you'll get discouraged and you'll give up everything altogether. So if you want to be really ambitious, do all these things. If you think, I don't want to fail at it, I would like to really succeed, pick one or two and just really give it your all. And email me, Lori@freshcatholic.com, and let me know how it went. Let me know. I mean, if somebody really can prove to me that they made the most out of their Easter season, maybe I'll give you a prize. Maybe I'll send you some merch. So let's do the 50-day resurrection challenge, okay? So thank you so much for coming today. I hope you have a very blessed octave of Easter this week and head into the Easter season. And see, I'm feeling better already. So thanks for coming today. Thank you. Love you. Bye.